Welcome back. Now, the death in this particular true crime case I'm going to present, if the facts of the case out there are true, then this death is, in my opinion, officially the silliest death in 2023. Please, don't come at me. I am not insensitive. But like I said, if the details of the story as is circulating is true, then this is the silliest death in 2023. So which country is it coming from? Can you guess? Well, it's coming from my own country, Ghana, in West Africa. Now, this story broke about almost a week ago, but I was just waiting, doing some digging around, and honestly, I was struggling to believe that it's actually true because of the details of it. Because I was wondering that, come on, in this day and age, 2023 heading into 2024, AI, technology, everything is up and running. We have come so far. These things can still happen. Nah, I don't believe this. But as I dug and dug and dug, I realized that no, this is true, and that there are still some silly people out there. And in as much as a life has been lost, and I commiserate with the members of the family, I also believe that this could have easily been avoided with just a bit of common sense. Why do I say this? First of all, I'll pause here, watch this video, and then I'll come back, and maybe I wouldn't have to talk much for you to agree with me that this, in my opinion, and maybe you would now agree, is officially the silliest death in 2023. Watch the video and I'll be back with my 2 cents. Okay, I'm back. Do you agree with me? Please just pause here and let me know in the comment section whether you agree with me after watching that footage or you still disagree with me. Please pause and give me these responses in the comment section. And if you are on the fence, let me know as well in the comment section. And now I'm going to break the video down and explain what you saw. And then afterwards, come back to the comment section and still let me know if you agree with me after getting to know the details, or you disagree with me, or maybe you are still on the fence. If you're on the fence, please let me know why. Now, this incident occurred in the western region of Ghana, specifically at a town called Eyim. For those of you who are not familiar with my country, Ghana, it's a country in West Africa, a very beautiful one at that. We have great story sites, we have great lively sites, we have very great people in this country. But as is found in everywhere in the world, there are also always going to be some few incidents here and there. And unfortunately, this has occurred here. Now, the details of the case as it's circulating are these. This occurred at Eyim in the western region of Ghana, which is one of the 16 regions. It's good I also mentioned this case is still undergoing investigations. The police have taken it up actually, but this is what has been circulating so far. So the guys you see in the footage obviously are young guys, mostly looking like teenagers or just above teenagers. I think they might be in their early 20s. Yeah. Now, these guys were going about an activity and they were speaking my local dialect called Chi or Akan. So I've put subtitles in there though, but for those of you who still want a more vivid explanation, I'm giving it to you and I'll try to translate what they are saying. So the whole thing is about one of them by name Malam. Now, Malam translates to a lot of things here in Ghana. Malam generally is an Islamic word or Islam related word. It speaks to a leader, a spiritual leader of a sort. But there are also versions of it, let me say, diluted versions of it, where in the context, the word Malam is sometimes used for a spiritualist here in Ghana. You see where the conversation is going? Okay, so religion is coming in. Now, these so called traditional spiritualists, or as some may call them, Malams, are, are known to have some spiritual capabilities and powers which they can also extend to their followers and those who come to them to solicit for these powers for one reason or the other. So, in the true sense of it, I think the Muslims would be very unhappy that such characters are having the name Malam extended to them. I don't think it's right. Yeah. In any case, I think the right word for these people is fetish priests. That is the right word for them. But then in this particular video, there's a guy they are calling Malam. Now that guy is alleged to be a fetish priest or a spiritualist who apparently has some sort of charms and spiritual powers. And in this video, they are convinced that he has the spiritual power or fortification to withstand being cut with a knife or any sharp object. And now he's gone past that and graduated to the point where he has spiritual powers or spiritual elements and charms that have fortified him against any impact from a gunshot. In effect, you can shoot this guy and it has no effect on him. If you are watching from the West or from any part of the world, forget about bulletproof vest. Forget about Teflon vest. People can see you wearing it. In this guy's case, Malam is saying that you don't need to wear a bulletproof vest. You don't need a Teflon vest. You come as you are. But he's wearing a spiritual bulletproof vest or a spiritual Teflon vest such that if you shot at him, nothing would happen. In some parlance, they would say Odeshi. Odeshi just means it's a jargon of a sort trying to imply that nothing can affect me, no success. I'm still grinding. I'm still grounding. Let me put it that way. So this is what these guys are pursuing at where they are. And this is 2023, where their peers, even within this same country, are up to very productive things, trying to improve their lives and the lives of their loved ones, hustling to build their nation in various endeavors. These guys are in that bush by the river, seeking to fortify themselves against gunshots. Spiritually, may I add, it would have made a bit more sense and contributed to national development if they were actually working on a scientific project to develop a form of bulletproof vest that might even be used by the army. But in this case, that's not the case. They are rather looking for a spiritual bulletproof vest. And not to judge them, but in most cases, they don't even use these charms for good. I'm sure some of you may be asking, what were they even going to use it for in the first place if it was successful? But I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's first talk about what happened in the footage. So the Malam is talking about, or he's bragging actually about the fact that now if you have an issue against him, or if you have an issue against them, and you are coming with a knife, you are not going to be successful. If you are coming at them with a weapon, a gun for that matter, you are also not going to be successful because they've gone past that. Iron is sharpening iron now, and they are ahead of anybody who wants to challenge them with these weapons. After making these statements, you see him walking to a point where he takes a stand, another guy joins him. This is where the whole thing begins to get deadly because just like that, they are ready to put the spiritual bulletproof to the test. I pause here, and this is where the common sense should have kicked in if it already didn't kick in to tell them that, guys, you can't even be here initiating conversations like this. It's stupid. Quit and leave. Even if the common sense failed to get triggered at the time, at this point in time now, where the spiritual bulletproof vest is to be put to the test, the common sense should have kicked in. And then again, how do you trigger common sense if the common sense is not there in the first place to get triggered? Well, what is even going to trigger it? There should be an element of wisdom that comes in to wake up the common sense, I believe. And it seems none was present with these guys. So they did the test. In the event of trying it, the first attempt failed. You will see that the guy walks back to tell them that, hey, handle the gun well, cock it well, make sure that it's functioning because it failed to fire the first time. And I think that whatever they believe in, whether it was God or whatever, that was a warning to them that please stop what you are doing. And they should have heeded it when the gun failed to fire the first time, but they didn't. They went ahead, and the guy who was to be tested, one of them, one of the two guys to be tested, actually came back to help correct things to make sure that this time around everything will fire. And unfortunately, it fired. And when it fired and it hit, he didn't even know that his second counterpart that was hit had actually been adversely impacted by the gunshot. So he was still chanting the incantations, only to see that now the guy has been hit, spiritual bulletproof didn't work, and then they start shouting, Jesus, Jesus. And this is where you see that their minds are now coming back home from the stupid errand it took. Because these things in themselves, they are black magic. They are against Christianity. Permit me to be a bit spiritual. They're against spirituality, Christianity, sorry. So if you are going on a black magic endeavor, you have forsaken the Christ and the Jesus and the God you know. That is your decision. I'm not here to judge anybody. That is your decision. But then, why is it that when it failed and now somebody is fatally shot, you are now calling on the name of God? Why are you not calling on the name of whatever spirit you guys were invoking to get that spiritual bulletproof vest? It would have made sense, right? No, because now their common sense had been triggered. And you hear someone shouting, Fanico Hospital. It just means take him to the hospital. And this is where things are degenerating to among some youth. Because for those of you who were asking, if it was successful, what were they going to use it for? This is what most likely it could have been used for, or what some people use such charms for here in most countries in Africa. Mostly, they don't use it for any form of good. You see charms like this mostly with criminals, especially the armed robbers, who believe that they are fortified against kickbacks from the police, fortified against reprisal attacks from opponents, such that when they come on an operation, they are so fortified physically with their weapons and spiritually with these things and nothing you do can affect them. There are even reports that there are charms that can make people walk through walls. I don't know if these are true or not, but I can't say they are not true, and I can't say they are true. And I haven't seen any in practice before, but I've heard about them. Allegedly there are charms that make people disappear from one location to the other. But if that's the case, then people should be able to disappear from where they are to wherever they want to be, right? But you still see some of these people getting frustrated because they are applying for a visa to travel and they are not getting it. Why don't you just disappear from where you are to where you want to be? Sometimes I think logical reasoning just debunks some of these things. But again, that's not to say certain things do not exist spiritually. That's just me being funny. And unfortunately, the gentleman who was hit by the bullet lost his life. Now, you see why I'm saying that is the silliest death in 2023. Why? Even scientists who take time to plan and research thoroughly, in most cases, don't just start their first trial on a human being. Most often, they would have started on maybe a lab rat or something. How much more you guys who do not have any form of evidence, nothing empirical, to tell you that we've made some progress in the building of this spiritual bulletproof vest, and okay, let's first strap it around a tree and fire and see what will happen to the tree or a stone or what. You just go straight ahead and you strap it to a human being. How did they even strap it? They just spoke some incantations and they believed they were strapped. Come on. Do you still believe or agree with me that is the silliest death in 2023, or you don't? Let me know. Because for me, I think that this is a life that could have been saved easily. He was just 28 years old. And what I say is not to sort of blame him per se, but the people around him, and especially his family and friends, actually. How did he end up there? How did he end up with such friends? And how did those friends also end up with such thinking? These are crucial questions that the society should be asking itself. And I think that all these things we see are symptoms of a bigger picture. Because if these guys had insight, if they had perspective on how they could be improving their lives or being productive with their time, I don't see how they will get caught up in these things. You get me? So this has happened and it's such a shame. Now, the police stepped in. This video actually went viral and the police stepped in. For starters, it's alleged that the person who fired the weapon has been arrested and the rest also fled. So now they are being hunted by the police. So where's the loyalty in the first place? At best, they could have still taken him to the hospital and surrendered themselves to the police. But because there is no true loyalty, they've left. And if it was successful too, trust you me, knowing that he is fortified against gunshots and stuff, most of these people who get the benefit of these charms will wreak havoc on the society. So I don't know if it's a lose-lose or a lose-win or a win-win, or I don't know actually. But I don't want to get into that bit. I think that I'll just commiserate with the family. I wish them the strength to endure this. But I would advise any youth watching this, especially here in Africa, that you don't need to waste your time on these things. Your time is money, literally. Get productive. If not for anything, if you don't have a job, yeah, I know unemployment is high here in Africa, in some countries, but don't use that as an excuse to get yourself meddling in some of these silly things. Use your time profitably. If you are not employed, you can still use your time to study. That is more productive than getting into these things. 28-year-old life cut short and out of a very silly activity. Let me know in the comment section if you agree with me. If not, let me know why. If you do, let me know why. If you're on the fence, let me know why. If you've had any cases similar to these which can compete with the tag I'm giving this, let me know and I'll research on them and bring them here as well. And then together we see. Sometimes we need to be blunt and sincere on some things. This, in as much as it is sad, I think it's also silly. You know, you don't put your life at risk for something you can't see and believe that you have a spiritual bulletproof vest on. Nah. But all this I'm saying, like I said earlier, is dependent on whether the details circulating are actually true. So, investigations are ongoing by the Ghana Police Service, and I'm waiting to see what their findings will be. I hope it wouldn't confirm what is out there. Other than that, my tag still holds. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. Let me know what you think in the comment section and share. It's good we share so we learn. Stay safe and keep an eye out. Catch you next time.